You had the warnings happen beforehand. You compile that with the fact that she did say, I'm not going to travel. And then you have time and again going to Paris 3 times, and now she's in Ghana. Shouldn't there be at least some level of, my bad?
Listen, everything is about perspective. Comparing her to Ted Cruz when he was there in the middle of it is not the same thing.
Why?
It's not the same thing. If she had walked away in the middle of the wildfires,
after the warning. She walked away after the warning.
How many times Donald Trump had warnings about COVID? Did he do anything? No. He didn't do anything when there was warnings. And then when we had the COVID, he said we can use bleach and other things. And you know why I think they're doing it, to be honest with you? I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, if she was a white male that had traveled to Ghana during this time, and then this happened, they'd have been like, oh my God, he was amazing. They would have cheered for him. He was amazing.
Okay, girl, bye.
Bye.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. So I wanted to come on and talk about Karen Bass, the mayor of LA. And this is the same mayor that decided to go to Ghana while her city burned, okay? Now, her supporters will say it's not her fault. She didn't know the city was going to burn, but it has been shown that she also saw the weather advisory, that it was a red flag day weekend, and she knew that this could be a possibility, and she still left. Outside of saying on her campaign trail that she wouldn't go travel internationally, and she did it anyway. Now her constituents are saying, we want you gone, and change.org has a petition up to do just that. However, her supporters are saying you guys are treating her unfair, and it wouldn't be all of this if she was white. I knew it was coming, the race card, sooner or later. I want you guys to see what one of her supporters, a Democratic strategist, had to say on News Nation. Here we go.
Lisa Durden, a Democratic strategist who is defending the mayor. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. What is the defense of the mayor?
Okay, first I would like to say the California fires is not this stop, drop, and roll school fire drill sort of thing. It's a huge devastation. That's number one. Number two, I find it disingenuous and disgusting for the right-wing MAGA monsters, is my name for them, to drill down on pouncing on the mayor, Mayor Bass, for being in Ghana. She was in Ghana, so what? Being in Ghana was not going to prevent the fire, and being in California was not going to prevent the fire. Why she was there? It could have been business. I don't know. This is terrible for them to focus on that versus people's lives being devastated, people being killed by the fires. And the only concern you have is why the mayor was not here exactly. But she didn't just, stay there and just recline and relax. She was on that phone. She was talking to her team. She was deploying people. She was doing everything she could do. She got on that plane and got back here quickly. When she got on the ground, all boots on the ground, and she was ready to go. It was not like she just went on this like Jeopardy thing, ding, ding, ding. That wasn't happening.
So I'm not a MAGA monster.
Of course not.
No. But I'm just telling
Yes.
you, I am very concerned.
Okay.
And I think I can both at the same time tell you, here's what's real, here's what's not real. This is a real concern, and talk about the human impact, talk about the firefighters, and also talk about the fact that Mayor Bass, of course, should have been on the ground when this happened, when you had the warnings happen beforehand. You compile that with the fact that she did say, I'm not going to travel. And then you have time and again going to Paris 3 times, and now she's in Ghana. Shouldn't there be at least some level of, my bad?
Listen, everything is about perspective. Comparing her to Ted Cruz when he was there in the middle of it is not the same thing.
Why?
It's not the same thing. If she had walked away in the middle of the wildfires.
She walked away after the warning. She walked away after the warning.
How many times Donald Trump had warnings about COVID? Did he do anything? No. He didn't do anything when there was warnings. And then when we had the COVID, he said we can use bleach and other things. So we can't keep comparing her for that.
But you can't, because I can criticize Donald Trump for making the comments he had, and also criticize Mayor Bass and say she deserves criticism, and she ought to accept responsibility for the fact that she screwed up.
When you are a public figure, you are going to get criticized, right? And you know why I think they're doing it, to be honest with you? I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, if she was a white male that had traveled to Ghana during this time, and then this happened, they'd have been like, oh my God, he was amazing. They would have cheered for him. He was amazing. He got back here to the States quickly, and he called from the phone.
I will tell you that
he was on top of things.
I will tell you, I wouldn't be.
No.
I would be saying exactly the same thing I'm saying. Black woman, white male, and that feels like an excuse.
All right, so you guys just saw that. When I tell you, you cannot make this stuff up, you cannot make this stuff up, all right? They had a whole debate back and forth, which is fine, right? She can be a supporter. But once he start really digging in and saying, hey, these are the facts, she said, you know what? I know what it is. She's Black. That's the only reason. If she was white and went to Ghana, ma'am, Karen Bass is Black. However, Karen Bass is incompetent. However, the New York Post decided to put out an article written by a Black journalist, and he talked about this exact point. I want you guys to see what this journalist had to say about Karen Bass and being criticized because she's Black. Here we go.
I wrote this article about Karen Bass, who's the mayor of Los Angeles, mainly in response to some of the people who are blindly defending her because they feel that the criticisms towards her are coming from a place of racial animosity or simply just levying some sort of unfair attack against her because she's a Black female. But obviously, there are plenty of reasons as to why you can criticize her. You can criticize her lack of answers at the beginning of the fires that were burning through Los Angeles. You can criticize her for being in Ghana when this all kicked off, whether it be right or wrong. There are lots of things that you can criticize her on. You know, I'm not a resident of Los Angeles, but I can understand the people who do live in this area and why they're upset. And anytime some sort of tragedy happens, whether it be a natural disaster or not, someone's going to look for someone to blame. Who's responsible? And as the mayor of a city, automatically you're held responsible, whether it's fair or unfair. But the idea that her receiving criticisms is automatically some sort of racial unfairness, I think is actually the racism that we have to deal with in our country. The idea that someone who is Black, who is in charge, must be protected and avoid some sort of scrutiny simply because they are Black, I think is the bigotry of low expectation.
All right, so you guys just saw that. So I agree with the young man wholeheartedly, okay? At the end of the day, Karen Bass is the mayor, and good, bad, or ugly, she has to deal with the backlash, criticism, and anything that comes with that, because this is your city, and your constituents are dependent on you to run it. Now, another conversation that's been emerging is the DEI woke policies of California. California is very liberal. Most people there are Democrats, if not all people, right? Because the Republican minority is very, very, very small. However, Piers Morgan decided to have a panel on to talk about the wildfires, and it erupted with Mark Lamont Hill getting upset because somebody said something about DEI, and it all went downhill from there. Watch this.
It's totally understandable to me that this is what happens in LA, that we can pretty much imagine that this is going to occur to some extent. But we can also see a department that has, in my opinion, wasted time and resources on these woke agenda pieces like diversity, equity, and inclusion. Where could that time and where could those resources have gone? What could they have been allocated to when it comes to response to these fires? Not only that, I'm seeing reports on social media, I don't know about anybody else, of arsonists, looters, and this is sort of a culture that we've created here in Los Angeles, here in California, with the way that we've been soft on crime, with the different policies that we've pushed forward. You have Rick Caruso here in Los Angeles, who was running for leadership. He managed to save his land, his properties, and he did so through proper planning and being proactive. So what could we have done in this city? Probably a lot.
What I shook my head to was the issue around the quote unquote woke policies and DEI policies. Right. That specifically is what I'm addressing. So we don't have to guess. I'm telling you what it was. The idea that there's some relationship between the fires and the department's investment in DEI policies. Even Amala herself has said, you know, we're going to find out if that's the case. But why are we beginning from a premise that that is the case? Is anything possible? Sure, but there's no evidence of it. Also, the idea of calling it a wasted effort to me is a bit bizarre. As I'm sure you know, or maybe you don't, I'm talking to the audience, not you two in particular, the department had a significant problem with sexual harassment. The department had a significant problem with racial discrimination. It's acknowledged that the department had multiple firefighters sue. The department acknowledged that they were overrepresented by white men and underrepresented by other groups. And to be clear, that's a statistical analysis. That's not a subjective assessment. It's not a moral judgment. I'm saying they're overrepresented demographically. So in light of that, my question would be, if you don't think they needed an inclusion or equity initiative, how should they have responded? This is to Amala. How should they have responded to the proven cases of discrimination, sexism, and harassment that were happening in the department? What should they have done instead of having an initiative?
Okay, well, fair enough. Amala?
Now, that's not what's being articulated by the LAFD. They are saying that they are looking specifically for people of certain races, of particular gender backgrounds, and we should be moving towards a race-neutral future. If you want people to be judged on the content of their character, of their abilities, their intelligence, their strength, which is very important when it comes to the fire department, you should do exactly that. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a woman. It has nothing to do with your race. And as we saw that assistant fire chief state, she's speaking about diversity, equity, and inclusion through a lens of wanting people who look like her to be in the department, wanting to be able to show up to houses of California residents that apparently look like her so she can serve them better. And she's not really speaking to her capabilities. As she even stated in her own video, she'd be incapable of carrying a man out of a fire.
All right, so you guys just saw that. And I thought Amala did an amazing job at telling Lamont Hill that he doesn't know everything and that he needs to really focus on what DEI policies can do to a department. But I digress with that. So here are my thoughts. Let's pour it up. My thoughts are this. The DEI policies, just like Amala stated, are definitely hurting the department, all right? You have women on the department that openly tell you that they cannot carry a man out of a fire. And if you're in a fire and you got yourself in the wrong place, oh well, that should be definitely unacceptable. But because we want to have so-called diversity, we go along with it. Diversity is including everybody, including white men, including white women, including black women, including black men. However, when it comes to being a firefighter, there are some things that men are definitely going to do better. And that is because men are definitely stronger than women. The fire equipment is heavy. A lot of the people that may get stuck in a burning building, house structure, or whatever may be heavy. And if you cannot carry this person out, what good are you going to do to help that person in need? This is not about me seeing somebody that I look like. This is me seeing somebody that can save me. And at the end of the day, I don't care if that person is white, black, whatever. And lastly, Karen Bass deserves all the criticism that she's getting. I don't live in LA. I never will. I don't like the policies in California. However, the people that did vote you in, you need to do what's best for them. And you decided on a red flag day to go to Ghana because you did not care. You cared about doing what Joe Biden wanted you to do because there's no point in you as a mayor. You're not an ambassador. You were a mayor going to Ghana for what? You don't need to go. So at the end of the day, whatever you get, your recall, all that is well deserved because you did not do your job. And I don't care that you're black. You can put your race card up because at the end of the day, you failed as a mayor, as a politician, and then hide behind the fact that you're a woman and you're of color. But I could be wrong. So get down in the comments and let me know, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Karen Bass and all her supporters saying that if she was a white man, you wouldn't be accusing her. Yes, we would. It's called Gavin Newsom. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's your girl, Mika, and I'm out.